My 28-year-old female ex-boyfriend, Mark, has a girlfriend named Janet, who is 32. Janet isn't very family-oriented and hates kids, which is ironic because Mark and I have a daughter, Cora, who is a tween. Recently, a situation arose where Janet tried to push Cora by locking her out of the house at night. We all live around a forest, so anything could have happened to her. Cora called me, and I ended up picking her up and calling Mark because Janet wasn't answering the door. I called Mark and told him what happened, and he told me to at least listen to Janet's side of the story. I told him I didn't care about her side because no behavior could allow an adult to lock a kid out of the house. It's honestly appalling to me. I found out the full story, and my opinion still didn't change. So Cora only wanted to clean up the mess that she made in her room because that's the only place she really is in their house. She refused to clean Janet's mess, and Janet punished her. I talked to my daughter about how she would feel if I were to file for full custody, and she said she didn't care as long as she wasn't around Janet. I told Mark that I was filing for full custody, and he told his mom, who started texting me on Facebook, super angry. Apparently, Mark and Janet told a different story than what happened and excluded the locking out of the house part to make me and Cora look bad. I ended up telling Mark's mom, and she apologized. But from what I was told, she told Mark that he was a horrible father and wouldn't talk to him if he decided to continue the relationship between him and Janet. Mark is now saying that I'm a bad person and a bad mom. My sister thinks I went too far and the situation could have been talked about. So am I the idiot for going to file for full custody because of a situation about my ex's girlfriend? So she locked her out because Cora didn't want to clean up after Janet. Why? Not the idiot, OPF. She locked your child out of the house. That is not appropriate at all, but especially not as a punishment. Janet did something that endangered your child, and she knew it was unreasonable, which is why she and Mark are lying to everyone. Good for you for protecting your kid, and your daughter's grandmother is a good one. And if Mark has partial custody and his girlfriend locked his child out of the house and he allowed it, I'd have called CPS and cops on both of them. Then he'd have been criminally charged if anything happened to your child. As someone literally old enough to be your mom, I'm so sorry because that must have been genuinely terrifying for Cora and horrible for you to hear as a mom. You don't need to like Janet or even get along with her or Mark, but you absolutely have a right to know that she's safe when Cora's at their home. As any father who would allow someone to lock their daughter out of the house for any reason isn't a good father. Your right to file for sole custody. This is a safety issue. Good luck with getting full custody, and I hope your daughter never has to see that woman again. Everyone's the idiot here. Neither of you is effectively co-parenting. I want to hear Janet's side too. There are certain situations in which I could see that be the consequence of a kid's actions, although it would have to be a very extreme case. It sounds like you are already predisposed to create trouble rather than co-parent. Maybe you're not over your ex. You may instill in your daughter a sense of entitlement and lack of accountability that will carry over into every other aspect of her life. However, since you didn't offer any clarity on Janet's side, I have to assume she deserves the benefit of the doubt. Update. I just want to set some things straight. I don't have any feelings for Mark at all. He dated and broke up a long time ago. Second, I don't want to make it seem like I'm hiding Janet's side of the story, but there's nothing more to it. Cora only cleaned up the mess she made in the house and not Janet's mess. Refuses to break up with Janet. My lawyer said it would probably take a few weeks to get custody. Mark wants Janet and Cora to do therapy together. I asked Cora if she would be interested in doing that, and she said no. Cora has declined Mark's attempts to get her and Janet to talk. Mark hasn't even tried to see her alone, only trying to get her and Janet to talk. As far as I know, Mark's mom isn't talking to Mark, not by my request. That's honestly all there is for now. My sister-in-law, husband's older sister, and I gave birth to daughters around the same time. My daughter was born in early June. Hers was born in mid-June. Her daughter marks 5 kids for my sister-in-law and her husband's. Our daughter is mine and my husband's first child. That was trained first of Bafiri. A day after my daughter was born, my husband posted the announcement on his social media. Then my sister-in-law commented, asking what her actual name was, though the name was mentioned in the post. He replied for her to reread it, and she would see the name. She didn't reply after that. When she gave birth to her daughter, she made her announcement and went on a slight tangent about naming children and how much pride she and her husband took in giving their children real people names. The other day, we were at my husband's parents' house for a barbecue, and she went all in, saying how our daughter's name is a hippie freak name, and how we passed up the chance to give her a legitimate actual name. She said we could have clearly used one of her kids' names since we were struggling so badly. For context, our daughter is Aura. Her kids are Edward, Martha, Dorothy, Lawrence, and Susan, her youngest. My husband told her we were pleased with our daughter's name, and we were happy she was happy with the names of her children, and we should all just be happy and move on. She told me that I was setting my daughter up for a hard life and that her name would label her forever. Also went on about how Grandma and Grandpa's names were so handsome and beautiful and could carry a child throughout their lives. She followed up by accusing me of not caring about my daughter. I told her she could keep her grandma names, and I would keep my hippie freak names, and the conversation was over because I didn't care to hear about it anymore. My husband and I left. She followed up with how dare I say grandma names like something was wrong with them. I texted her that the hippie freak was too busy to engage further. I was mad at first, and now I'm questioning my actions. I don't like the names she chose for her kids. They're not to my taste, and maybe my tone did relay that. I don't like how she behaved, but 2 wrongs don't make a right. So I need to ask, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. As I was reading, I presumed I would find out you had chosen a terrible name. However, Aura's a lovely name and not particularly UT out there. Could you imagine an adult picking on a child and telling them their name is a freak name? That's what my sister-in-law is doing. So disturbing. She's a busybody weird and a complete idiot. She stepped over the line massively. Her names are yawn boring. They're perfectly reasonable names, but pushing one's opinions onto others is not okay. Your daughter's name is beautiful. It's not too out there. And even if it was, it's your circus, your monkeys, so she can butt out. Oh, and your comments were not wrong. They were appropriately snarky. And can I say, I love that your husband wasn't allowing this BS and has your back. I had him on the back for you. That's a great husband. Yeah, you were matching her energy. Stay away from her. You'll be getting judged for everything you do with your daughter. People like her are whiners and complainers who just need to be by themselves. Some people are wackadoo. I'm not close with my brother, Matt. Our parents heavily favored him growing up, which caused him to be a selfish adult now. Matt does not talk to us unless he needs something. His wife, Amber, is even worse. I've done my best to be civil with Amber, but she's a nasty person. The first thing she did when we met was insult my then-toddler daughter's hair. Amber behaves this way to every member of the family. The only reason the family speaks to Matt or Amber anymore is that we don't want to deprive the kids of a relationship with their cousins, as they all love each other. We keep things superficial because they know I'll leave with my daughter if Matt or Amber says something rude. My friend texted me asking, "Isn't this your sister-in-law?" and sent me a link to a beautiful child contest on Facebook. Amber's young daughter, Mia, was the winner. Amber photoshopped the picture so much that it barely resembled her daughter. Dear Amber had changed Mia's brown eyes to blue and her chestnut hair to blonde. She resculpted Maya's face, and she looked like another kid. I looked on Amber's social media and saw she did this with all her photos of her kids, including her infant son, Jacob. Jacob is a cute baby. He has dark eyes, hair, and tan skin like Matt. Amber photoshopped Jacob's eyes to be a bluish green. She made his skin lighter and his hair auburn. Matt had the same edited photos posted on his social media, so he clearly had no problem with it. Trusted that they felt the need to Photoshop pictures of their toddler and baby, and the grandparents insisted on taking everyone to the mall for new clothes. After shopping, we got lunch together, while the kids went to play on the mini rides and arcade games. I took a picture of the kids and Matt, and Amber asked me to send it to them.
Amber was examining the picture and commented that my daughter Savannah's eyebrows were too bushy and there was a threading place near my house where I should take her to shape her eyebrows better. And so the same sentence. She commented about Savannah's cheeks having too much baby fat and that I should consider a children's workout class for her.
I was furious with Amber because who the heck does she think she is to insult a kid's appearance? I told her that Savannah is perfect the way she is, and who the heck is she to comment otherwise?
Amber got defensive and said she was just trying to offer helpful criticism because Savannah will have trouble finding a boyfriend if she doesn't learn to maintain herself.
I said Savannah would find someone who loves her, not her looks, instead of being so shallow and insecure that she photoshops her kids' pictures online. Amber and Matt looked extremely angry and embarrassed. I told Savannah it was time to go when we left. People say I should have left immediately instead of causing drama and responding to Amber how I did, but nobody insults my child and gets away with it. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Photoshopping your children is literally Kardashian-level crazy. Not only is it a vapid, shallow thing to do, but imagine those poor children's self-esteem when they eventually find photos of themselves that mommy photoshopped. Amber was absolutely out of line making comments about your minor child's appearance. Based on what you've said here, Amber sounds like an adult who didn't emotionally mature beyond her teenage years. She clearly holds all her value in how she and those around her look, and lacks so much self-esteem that she needs to knock children down a peg to make herself feel better. It's quite sad and pitiful, really. The child is a tween. Her biggest concern should be riding her bike and playing with her friends, not maintenance. People like this are disgusting. Amber shouldn't be a mother. I see years of therapy in her children's future. Her daughter will grow up believing her only value is in her looks, and whether she can hang on to her man or not. I honestly don't see it worth the effort to keep a relationship with them just because your kids can have a relationship with their cousins. Those kids will have terrible mental health issues if they think beauty is all that matters, like your sister-in-law. They'll become just like them. I can't believe this happened, but here we go. I'm a 25-year-old female, and I refuse to pay my parents back. I started a clothing business after I graduated, and it became successful. I now earn a good amount of money. I visited my parents, male 52, female 51, last week. I didn't visit them for months because I was so busy. They started asking me about my business. After asking me a few questions about it, my mom said that now that I earn a lot of money, they're expecting me to pay back all the cost of raising me, and I owe them some money. I asked them if they were joking because it was so random, and they said no. So I told them that was ridiculous. That's their responsibility. I didn't choose to be conceived and born. I asked them if paying their bills was not enough for them. I pay all the bills in the house, even though I don't live there anymore. They said that that was a different matter, so I left the house. The day after, my dad messaged me, "Don't come back here anymore. You should be grateful that we brought you into this world." I replied, "Thank you, but I'm not obligated to pay you." And then they blocked me. My siblings also told me I should have just paid them back since I earn a lot of money. I didn't reply. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You should stop paying their bills and keep them blocked on your end. Children are not indebted to their parents for raising them. That's a one-way street, as in parents solely paying the cost of raising their children. Any money a child earns is their own. What kind of sick family do you come from up? If parents had helped fund your business when you started it, it would seem fair to pay them back that investment now that you can, with a little extra if you want it to be nice. But paying them for the cost of raising you, do they think having children is an investment that has to pay off? Out your siblings' side with the parents is baffling. Did they get bullied into paying? I wonder. Your parents chose to have you. They're responsible for you until you're 18. That's what being a parent is. A time for mom and dad to stand on their own 4 feet. Your parents should be ashamed to be such losers that they demand money from their daughter. Stop paying their bills or giving them any form of money. They're crazy people. Step away and cut contact. Update. I'm the one who suggests paying half their bills, but they keep asking if I could pay for that month, and then they would pay for the next month. And it just went on and on. So I decided just to pay their monthly bills. I started paying their bills 2 years ago. I found out that my parents didn't ask my siblings to pay them back. I'm the only one they asked. So I stopped paying their bills since I left the house that day, and I will not contact them ever again. I'm wrong for paying their bills before, but I wanted to do something nice for them. Anyway, thank you for the advice, guys. So, I'm a white woman who lives in the Southern US. I took an interest in foreign languages in high school because it seemed important. I speak Spanish and English fluently, since those two are the most spoken languages in the US, and it seemed important to learn Spanish. I also speak Chinese well, but not as well as a native speaker. Anyways, my brother's been dating this girl, Luisa, for several months. He'd mentioned her family's from Mexico. They moved in together recently and threw a housewarming party. It's worth noting that my brother's best friend is Hispanic, and his family's from Cuba. Ice from my brother speaks a bit of Spanish. He can follow conversations decently and knows his fair amount of insults. When I got to the party, I started chatting with my brother's best friend, and we were conversing in Spanish. We've just done it for years, and we primarily talk in Spanish because use it or lose it. And all that. My brother and his girlfriend came over, and I said, "It's nice to meet you," and I included them in what we were talking about. All of this is in Spanish. His girlfriend is named Luisa, and her family's from Mexico. I had heard her speaking English with a bit of an accent when I came in, so I incorrectly assumed she spoke Spanish. She kind of went off on me about how not everyone speaks Spanish, and that as a white girl, I don't need to be speaking it. My brother later apologized and said it was a sore spot for her, but it's been on my mind. Am I the idiot for assuming she speaks Spanish when she doesn't and speaking Spanish in front of her? I did try to apologize for assuming, but she kept yelling at me and then ran off to the other side of the room and went to badmouth me to her friends. There are a lot of white people in Spain and they speak Spanish. You are not the idiot. Just speak to her in Chinese from now on. As a white girl, I don't need to be speaking it. That is one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard. Yet she should go to Spain, Argentina, Uruguay, etc. And she'll be shocked to see white people, even blondes and blue-eyed, all of them speaking Spanish. And anyway, why couldn't a white non-Spanish person speak Spanish or any other language? That's rude and moronic as heck. Speaking Spanish is a skill. Anyone can learn it when they have the time and dedication to do so. Just learn it when they have the desire to do so. She's probably ashamed that she didn't learn to speak it and misplaced that anger on you with cheap shots, implying that a white girl shouldn't be speaking the language. I think this is the core issue. But empathy goes a long way. When you get a chance to talk to her again, you'll have an opportunity to explain and maybe make a friend. So just cut her some slack. Your brother loves her, and perhaps it would be best not to do the whole Spanish thing around her for now.